What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and got plenty of food to eat like I did for sure. And I hope you are all being careful on this Black Friday. If you are out there at the stores braving it to shop the sales, please be careful. You can just do what I do, and that is shop online. It is much safer that way. But thank you all again for tuning into this latest episode here on the channel. This is Orioles Today. As always, I am Sean Ferguson. If you're a fan of today's episode, please throw some Thanksgiving leftovers at the like button. And if you're a fan of this content, please subscribe. Get yourself daily notifications for all of these daily video drops covering all things the Baltimore Orioles. We are going to get right into it as I'm trying to get back on track here through the holidays. A lot has happened over the last couple of days, and we're not going to waste any time. One guy that has been named as the top pitching free agent out there, and many of us have said that the Orioles should go after. Not all O's fans, and I've seen it on this channel, not all O's fans wanted Dylan Cease to be a part of the organization, whether it be how it was a bit of a down year for him last year, or just how much money and years we would have to invest in him to get him to come to Baltimore. And if you did want Dylan Cease to be a part of the Orioles rotation last year, that is not going to happen, but you are going to see plenty of him as he does go to an AL East rival. Dylan Cease signing with the Toronto Blue Jays, 7 years, $210 million. And there are said to be a few teams that were still trying to make a final push after him, and reports are the Orioles were one of them, the Cubs being another. I'm not sure how much Boston was going after him since they just did acquire Sonny Gray, even though Gray is not going to be their ace. We just didn't know if they would still be super aggressive for Cease. Some reports are saying that they were, but the Orioles were one of those teams, and a lot of people are coming out and saying Mike Elias blew it again, Elias blew it again. And if Elias did go after Cease, I would be very curious to see just how much money he was offering him, because most of us knew it was going to be around $200 million if you're going to want to snag him. He's not going to do any type of short deal. And we know so far in the 7 years of Mike Elias as GM and now of the president of baseball operations, he does not like to give out multi-year contracts to free agents. He has only done that one time, and that was to Tyler O'Neill last year. And I'm hopeful he turns it around because he is still an Oriole, but right now we have seen how that has gone so far. But Dylan Cease signs a big old contract in Toronto. The biggest contract they had was the George Springer contract with 6 years, $150. So they had 7 years, $210 of Cease. And again, Cease did not have a great year last year. He had a 4.55 ERA. And the main thing for him was he was very consistent. He did start 32 games for the Padres, so that's something the Blue Jays are going to get. Hopefully he can get back to his normal numbers, but he is able to make a lot of starts, and that is something we have seen around the league with these bigger names. You don't see a lot of the top guys as much nowadays just because the injury bug has been so just horrific to these guys, whether it's shoulder issues, elbow, Tommy John surgery, and Cease, knock on wood, has not been affected by that as much as these other guys. And he is going to Toronto and see if he is able to turn around. The Blue Jays are not messing around when it comes to trying to get back to that World Series. They just missed out on a ring, and they won it bad. And they, as many people say, they get the top starting pitching free agent out there, and the Orioles miss out on Dylan Cease. And the question is now, where do the Orioles turn next? Not long after the news of Dylan Cease going to Toronto broke, more reports are coming out that, yes, the Orioles were very interested in Cease. Where do they go now? Well, there are still names that the Orioles are considering and are trying to still go after. And every name that was mentioned on that list, and it wasn't just one list, these are a lot of different sources and reports that are coming out, are guys that I have covered in this channel and will be a great asset either to the starting rotation or a fantastic power bat that the Orioles could use. Power bat was Kyle Schwarber. The Orioles apparently are still interested in Kyle Schwarber, which he would help out that first base DH hole, not hole, but an area that the Orioles have been a little lackluster in for sure. And why some people are pushing back, because a couple of weeks ago the Orioles were showing interest in Pete Alonso as well. If interest still might be there for him as well. It could be still interest in both guys, Schwarbs and Pete Alonso. And everyone is backtracking on that a little bit just because we did tender Ryan Mountcastle a contract. But as I said back then when that contract was announced, I said don't look too much into that because I truly believe that Ryan Mountcastle will not be an Oriole once the 2026 season starts. I really do believe he is going to be involved in some sort of trade. Who maybe a Joe Ryan, just put into some type of trade package that the Orioles could benefit from to bring in a bigger name guy that wouldn't be involved in a multi-year free agent signing. But I do believe that Mountcastle is going to be shipped elsewhere, and that would leave that hole for a everyday first base guy that could come in with power numbers like a Schwarber would or a Pete Alonso would, and you still have a Kobe Mayo there, and he could still benefit from playing time when it comes to having time at first base and DHing as well, depending on who you go out and get. And Schwarber will be one of those guys. If you did pick up a Kyle Schwarber, it'd be a great power bat to the Orioles lineup, which just added Taylor Ward, which got a big pop, helping out the outfield. Then you could add him as well. So that is still a name that's being floated out there that the Orioles are still interested in. Framber Valdez is another. And he's also another guy I mentioned on this channel that the Orioles should take a look at, and apparently they are. So that is, now, with these guys that I'm naming, I'm not saying that the Orioles are going to get out and get all of them. That is a lot of money that's going to be thrown out. Not as much as Dylan Cease. Schwarber is getting older. Valdez is going to get a nice contract, and I absolutely believe they should go out and get him. I said at the same time, too, why not try to go get a Kyle Schwarber? You are going to have to continue to try to outbid these other teams, and so far, again, I don't know how much the Orioles were willing to part way with money-wise to acquire Cease, but right now it doesn't look like it was going to be more than the $210 million that Toronto decided to throw out there. And if Elias is serious about getting some of these big-name guys, he is really going to have to set his own personal record of free agents that are handed multi-year contracts. You're not going to get a lot of these guys on one-year deals. And again, we missed out on Dylan Cease. I don't think it's the end of the world. I still think there's a lot of guys out there that, again, I have covered on this channel that I think would be a great asset to the Orioles in 2026 and beyond. Another guy is Amai from Japan. I also talked about him on this channel. He will be another great addition, and apparently the Orioles are still looking at him as well. So, no, the Orioles didn't get Dylan Cease, and I know a lot of you guys are bummed out about that. A lot of you guys are not. You're pretty happy that we didn't drop that much money on Cease, as you're just not sure what he's going to do next year. I think he's going to be fine next year in Toronto. I think he's going to be great. He's only 30 years old. He's still got a lot of time left. He's got a lot of time left in his MLB career, and he's going to do great things. So, yes, he had a down year last year. He's going to turn that around. He would have been great. It's a lot of money in a long contract, but I think it would have been worth it for a guy like that. But it is okay. It is not time to hit the panic button. Things are just fine in Baltimore. I truly believe that. So we'll see where the Orioles go from there. And switching gears now, the Orioles did announce another minor league signing. The Orioles signed Andrew Magno to a minor league contract, and with that, he will get an invitation to spring training. And Magno, he did pitch all of 2025, and he was with the Detroit Tigers AA affiliate. And through his time last year pitching, he did have a 2.31 ERA, and he's only 27 years old. He has yet to reach the major leagues, but again, he had plenty of time last year to develop in AA for Detroit. He put up pretty good numbers, and we'll see what he is able to do with the Orioles organization. Again, he's going to get a spring training invite, and right now he is serving as a relief pitcher, and that's good depth. And that could be a guy that we see AA or up to AAA Norfolk. I don't want to pronounce that wrong again. AAA Norfolk. So, again, Magno has signed minor league contract, spring training invitation. He is now with the Orioles. And now the last bit of news I wanted to cover was the hiring of Mike Shildt. And I've been on a lot of San Diego Padres websites and their own YouTube channels and streams, and I wanted to kind of see where their heads are at with this, and not a lot of them are happy at all. They thought that Shildt was going to be out of the big leagues for a while. He announced his retirement, so just to give you guys a little bit of background, Mike Shildt was the manager of the San Diego Padres. If you guys, for you who didn't know, just a quick background. Former manager of the San Diego Padres. He was pretty decent over there. He decided to retire from baseball, and many thought that that would be a 1 to 2 year absence. He would just take some time off. He said he needed to take a break from the grind of a 162 game season. He needed to get right mentally. He just needed to step away. And that was only about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And many people are wondering, okay, you decided to come back, but why didn't you come back to the Padres organization? The Orioles are hiring Shildt to be a part of their player development. And many are saying, why didn't you do this with the Padres? The Padres would have loved to have you help out with their player development. It's going to be their new coordinator of instruction in the upper levels of the minor league system. And they have Vega, who is going to do the lower levels of the minor league system for the Orioles now too. And I can't tell you why that he decided to return and go to the Orioles and not to the Padres. I'm really happy about this hire for Baltimore, so I'm sorry to San Diego Padre fans who are not happy with him coming back then leaving right away. I think this is a great move. Again, he's only 57 years old, so you have a lot of these managers that come back that are like in their 60s, 70s, but he's still 57. And I think with the farm system that we just continue to bring these guys up and develop left and right, and we have a pretty decent farm system once again. I think having a guy like Shildt down there will be phenomenal to help with the upper levels, especially guys who I want to see come up very soon, like an Enrique Bradfield, and there's others as well, especially in our pitching. So I'm happy about the hire, and I know a lot of other fans are as well, and Padres not as much. And like here, I'm reading the last 2 seasons with San Diego. He went 183 and 141, and he made the postseason both years. So they didn't want him to go. He was doing good there, and I get it. You need to take some mental time and you time essentially. But then you break that after 4 or 5 weeks. Cool, you're coming back. No, I'm going to go to Baltimore. So hopefully more stories will come out of why he decided to go to Baltimore. Now, he does have ties to the Orioles organization from way back when, so we'll see if that has something to do with it. But right now, I do not have the answers. I just know that we did decide to hire Mike Shildt in a player development role, and I am happy about that hire. Please let me know what you guys think about that, and let me know what you think the Orioles should do next now that Dylan Cease has decided to move on to Toronto. I would love to hear from you guys about that. Well, I do appreciate you guys tuning into this latest episode. And again, I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and are being safe out there when it comes to getting your shopping done for Christmas time. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this latest episode. If you were a fan of this episode, please throw some Thanksgiving leftovers at the like button. And if you're a fan of this content, please subscribe. Get yourself daily notifications for all of these daily video drops covering all things the Baltimore Orioles. And I appreciate it again, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Orioles Today. I am Sean Ferguson, and let's go O's.